27 years. That's how long Hicham El Guerrouj's mile world record survived. It outlasted generations of champions, countless record attempts, and some of the greatest middle-distance runners the sport has ever seen. But under the lights at the Novuna London Athletics Meet, history finally changed. Josh Kerr delivered the race of his life, stopping the clock at 3 minutes and 42.66 seconds to become the fastest miler in history and complete the mission he boldly named Project 222. This wasn't a surprise attack on the record. For weeks, Josh Kerr had openly spoken about Project 222, his plan to run faster than the long-standing world record of 3 minutes and 43.13 seconds, set by Moroccan legend Hicham El Guerrouj back in 1999. Many athletes prefer to keep record attempts quiet, avoiding extra pressure. Kerr did the opposite. He embraced the spotlight and made it clear that London was the race where everything had to come together. The challenge couldn't have been bigger. El Guerrouj's record wasn't just another statistic. It was widely considered one of the greatest performances in athletics history. Nearly 3 decades had passed without anyone managing to improve it. That made London's Mile one of the most anticipated races of the entire Diamond League season. Josh Kerr wasn't chasing history alone. The field featured some of the world's very best milers, ensuring the pace would remain brutally fast from the opening gun. American star Yared Nuguse entered the race in outstanding form and immediately established himself as Kerr's biggest challenger. Behind them, Britain's Heyward produced one of the strongest performances of his career in front of the home crowd, while Germany's Robert Farken continued his remarkable season by staying with the leaders deep into the race. This wasn't a tactical championship final where athletes waited until the closing meters. Everyone knew the objective: run fast, very fast. The pacemakers immediately settled into the demanding rhythm Project 222 required, pulling the field through the early laps almost perfectly on schedule. Josh Kerr looked completely composed. Rather than forcing the pace himself, he stayed relaxed behind the pacemakers, conserving every ounce of energy while making sure he never drifted away from the target splits. Nuguse remained right on his shoulder, refusing to let Kerr gain any breathing room. That proved crucial. World record attempts often fall apart after the pacemakers leave the track because the pace naturally begins to slow. This time, the quality of the field prevented that from happening. Heyward continued running fearlessly, delighting the British crowd, while Farken held his position against one of the strongest mile fields assembled all season. Every lap suggested something extraordinary was unfolding. The split times continued to flash exactly where they needed to be. Commentators began talking less about who would win the race and more about whether athletics fans were about to witness one of the sport's greatest records finally disappear. Then came the bell. 400 meters remained. The pacemakers stepped aside. Now, it was entirely up to Josh Kerr. Instead of fading, Kerr found another gear. Nuguse matched him stride for stride, pushing relentlessly as both athletes charged around the final bend. Their duel lifted the race to another level, ensuring the pace never dropped at the most critical moment. The London crowd sensed history. Thousands of fans rose to their feet as Kerr entered the home straight, still moving with remarkable control despite the relentless pace. Every stride brought him closer to a moment generations of middle-distance runners had chased but never achieved. Josh Kerr leaned through the finish line. Everyone immediately looked toward the clock. When the time appeared, the stadium exploded. 3 minutes and 42.66 seconds. A new mile world record. For a brief moment, Josh Kerr simply stared at the clock. Then the realization hit. Project 222 was complete. The time of 3 minutes and 42.66 seconds officially erased Hicham El Guerrouj's legendary 3 minutes and 43.13 seconds, a record that had stood untouched since 1999. One of the oldest and most respected world records in athletics had finally fallen. The celebration inside the stadium reflected the magnitude of the achievement. Kerr raised his arms as the crowd erupted, fully aware they had witnessed one of the greatest middle-distance performances ever produced. Breaking a world record is always special, breaking one that has survived for 27 years is something entirely different. For nearly 3 decades, El Guerrouj's mile was considered almost untouchable. Olympic champions, world champions, and Diamond League winners all came close, but none could rewrite history. Josh Kerr has now changed the conversation. He already owned world championship gold and had established himself as one of the biggest names in middle distance running. Now he adds something even rarer to his resume, the title of world record holder. The performance also signals a new era for the mile, with Kerr setting a new global standard and athletes like Nuguse continuing to improve. Every major championship and Diamond League meeting will now be viewed through a different lens. The event has entered one of its most exciting periods in decades. Project 222 wasn't just about chasing a number. It was about proving that limits can still be broken when preparation, belief, and execution come together on the biggest stage. London delivered an unforgettable night for athletics. Josh Kerr didn't just win one of the biggest races of the season. He achieved what many believed was impossible, rewriting the record books and creating a moment that will be remembered for generations. If you enjoyed this breakdown, don't forget to subscribe to The Athlete Insider for more verified track and field news, race analysis, and the biggest stories from around the world. Because when history is made, you'll hear it here first.